A while back, I went through a pretty tough time in my life. I had to struggle every day at a job that left me. I was unhappy in this situation because different people were telling me what to do and what not to do. I also had to deal with difficult coworkers and a rocky relationship. I honestly felt pretty bad about all of it because I knew I was losing control of my life. Every day seemed like an endlessly hard battle. One day, when I was at my lowest, I was aimlessly browsing YouTube when I came across an interesting video called How Stoicism Can Transform. The changes were amazing. Stress and anxiety changed into peace of mind and calmness, and my decisions became clearer and more in line with my values and virtues. Finally, I started to find more meaning in each day. Now I want to share with you how Stoicism can be a turning point in your lives. Let's look at the basics of this philosophy and see how they can be used in today's world. We'll also talk about how these principles can help you rebuild a more meaningful life. So, if you're ready for this voyage of personal revelation and transformation through Stoicism, I invite you to stay with me until the end of this video, which is sure to be one of the most profound on this channel. Let's start with my journey into Stoicism, which has been a light in the darkness of my life as I learned from great Stoics like Epictetus and Seneca, Mark Antony and Zenome. I was led into a world of unparalleled wisdom. Stoicism, in a few words, is a philosophical pursuit that focuses on developing morality, self-mastery, and insight. Its main idea is that we can't change the things that happen to us, but we can change how we react and see things. This gives us a powerful tool to deal with life's many obstacles. One important part of Stoicism is figuring out what we can change, our thoughts, actions, and decisions, and what we can't, things outside of our control and other people's points of view. Stoicism teaches us that we should focus our efforts on things we can change instead of things that can't be changed. But this philosophy goes beyond just ideas. It gives us practical ways to live our daily lives that help us deal with stress and anxiety. Depression when making choices and looking for real, long-lasting happiness. In this movie, we'll talk about the main ideas of Stoicism and how to put them into practice. We will talk about the importance of ideals like virtue, courage, acceptance, and acting in a way that is consistent with our core beliefs. If you've ever felt like life was too much and thought how to find peace in the chaos or how to make your life better in real ways, this video has useful lessons and ideas for you. Stoicism could be the key to a fresh start in your life and a fuller, more meaningful existence. But it's important to remember that this philosophy is only meant to guide and direct you. You have to take action to make it happen. Don't forget to turn on alerts and subscribe to the channel to get the helpful tips. I'll be writing about my journey to become a real Stoic. Let's find out how this old but still very useful philosophy can change our lives, as it did mine. Now, think that you could press a button and start your life over. Would you do it? You don't have to forget or ignore your past in order to start over. Instead, it's about learning from your mistakes and using that knowledge to make your future better. Marcus Aurelius taught us that what gets in the way becomes the way. He said, "Take the next step, and no one can stop you." Starting over is an art that requires a balance between learning from mistakes and moving on with new hope. The way we respond to things shows how we see them. If we see the world as hostile, we act defensively, but if we see it as friendly, our actions show love. Stoicism tells us to question and change how we see life so that we can see reality clearly and objectively without being clouded by strong emotions. As Seneca pointed out, we often suffer more in our minds than in real life. Sometimes our suffering is caused by something that hasn't happened yet or only exists in our minds. What would happen if we saw every problem as a chance to make things better? Real Stoics see problems not as fates, but as ways to make the spirit stronger. As they lead us down a new path that takes us even further than we were before, they remind us that problems are opportunities for growth, just like fire purifies gold. They do this by telling us that hardship makes strong people, which is what makes me a follower of Stoicism. Everything we face in life can change us in the end. This is what makes Stoicism so amazing and useful. In Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, he wasn't sharing his words with the world, just his inner thoughts. Reflections are daily lessons to live a real and meaningful life. They show that the conversation we have with ourselves is very important to our lives, so we need to be our own friends. I'm not saying we shouldn't have friends, but I am saying that we should value our own presence wherever it is found. Being happy in ourselves, regardless of other people's happiness, can be the biggest mistake. Stoicism tells us that everything is temporary, including happiness, pain, success, and failure. It also tells us to live with detachment, appreciating important moments but always ready to let them go. Epictetus tells us that everything costs something. We have to decide what is important to us and be ready to give up the rest. Even though the journey isn't easy, it's very rewarding. It teaches us to value ourselves, find strength in our weaknesses, and live with purpose while dealing with disrespect or other tough situations. Being quiet can be hard, but it's necessary for a happy life. Stoicism stresses how important it is to live in harmony with both the outside world and our inner selves. Ask yourself, am I acting in line with my true desires and principles, or am I just reacting to what other people expect of me? Remember that we are always changing, and that our thoughts shape our lives. Too often we try to please others and forget who we really are. To be a new person, Stoicism tells us to recognize our own worth, regardless of what other people think. As Epictetus said, true freedom is not being shackled to the will of others. Accepting something doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing truth and acting wisely. Accepting something means realizing what we can't change, but still being able to control how we react to it. It's about facing truth and making a choice about how to handle it, not just waiting for the storm to pass. We learn to dance in the rain because right now is the only time we really have. The past is history, and the future is certain. Real power is in the present moment. Worrying about the future or the past keeps us from focusing on what's happening right now, which keeps us stuck in a loop of negativity. Stoics didn't just talk about their theory, they lived it every day, always trying to get better, learn, and grow. What kind of legacy do we want to leave? Stoicism teaches us that our deeds, not just our words, show what kind of legacy we leave behind. Life is not judged by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that make us gasp for air. In a world where people are often out to get us, it's important to remember the power of silence, both inside and outside of ourselves. In silence, we find clarity, purpose, and a deeper connection with ourselves. This place lets us reflect, recharge, and focus on what's important. What Epictetus said, do not just talk about your philosophy, live it. We realize that letting go of what is holding us back is often the key to moving forward, whether it's an old grudge or an out-of-date view of ourselves. Through Stoicism, we find the freedom to pursue our true potential. The quality of our thoughts is more important to our happiness than money, power, or status. Valuing virtue means acting with honesty and integrity. Life is full of problems that we can't avoid, but Stoicism tells us that what matters is not what happens to us, but how we deal with it. Not important things should take your time. Constantly try to improve yourself because that's how a new you can come out. If you're loving this, don't pass it up. Buy the book right now, Ancient Ways of Dealing with Modern Problems, How to Be Stoic in the 21st Century, How to Open Your Prosperity, and How to Make Your Relationships Better with this ebook. Link in the comment that was saved. As Epictetus said, every struggle is a chance to learn, grow, and get stronger. In life, it's not about avoiding wounds, but not giving up on them. When we were younger, the future seemed like an endless sea of possibilities. So why does it feel like nothing works now? Examining what you did, figuring out what worked and what didn't, can be a turning point. But, as so often happens on journeys, a shadow fell on mine. Alcohol, which had been a temporary escape from the chaos of the world, turned into a daily necessity that made my days and nights darker and bleaker. I found myself drinking every day while surrounded by shallow friends. Without a drink, there was no friendship or relationship. Happiness became elusive, and the relationships I valued started to fall apart. It was at the height of this spiral of self-destruction that the video about Stoicism mentioned at the beginning of this text introduced me to this philosophy. That's when I realized what Stoicism really is. That video marked the start of a new phase when I decided to be a different person. Taking on Stoicism as my life philosophy. Comment: I will be a new person, and today is the date. Let's start a rebirth right now. I hope this text is the start of your new life. Just as Seneca said that unchecked passions can lock us up, I thought about how my alcoholism had locked me up and taken over my life. Inspired by the teachings of Marcus Aurelius Epictetus and other Stoic philosophers, I started my journey to sobriety. I learned how important it is to have self-control, be resilient in the face of hardship, and understand that while we can't control what other people say or what happens to us, we can control our reactions. 4 months ago, I went 2 years without drinking because I chose to be different. How long are you going to wait to change? This philosophy taught me to value life, deal with problems head-on, and find real freedom. Now that I'm sober, alcohol doesn't run my life. I'm in charge of my own clarity and purpose. It's my goal to share all of these lessons with you, even though the path hasn't been easy. The lessons of the Stoics have been a light in the darkest and hardest times. Here are some ideas for how you can improve your skills and start using these life-changing methods right away, or rather, from right now on, you'll be on the way to a full renewal and a clear-cut future. 1 time to think in the morning. Set aside a few minutes every morning to relax. Think about what happened the day before, and picture how you want today to go. This will help you mentally get ready for challenges and stay calm when things get stressful. A journal. Every day, write down 3 things you're thankful for in a book. This will help you stay focused on the good things in life and enjoy the little things. 3 regular physical activities. Regularly work out your body. The Stoics cared about your health. You can do this by walking, running, yoga, or any other activity you love. 4 rules for staying in charge when things go wrong. Remember the Stoic principle that you should know what you can control and what you can't. Then, make smart choices and calmly accept what you can't change. 5. Develop self-discipline in the areas of eating, money, and time management. Set goals that you can actually reach and keep working toward them. 6 times a day, before bed, you should evaluate yourself and think about what you did that day. Check to see if your actions were in line with your Stoic beliefs and ideals. Finding ways to make things better and making plans. A 7. Getting ideas from inspiring models. Read biographies or books about people like Marcus Aurelius and C.A. Epictetus, who lived by Stoic beliefs, and learn from their experiences. 8. Not caring what other people think. Don't worry too much about what other people think. Pay attention to following your own morals and beliefs. 9. Knowledge of how short life is. Remember that death is inevitable, and use that as a reason to value life and make smart choices. 10. Improving your skills. Spend time learning new things or getting better at things. Personal growth is an important part of Stoicism. Getting more ready to face problems. 11. Letting go of what you can't control. Realizing that what happens to you won't hurt you unless you let it do, so makes it easier to deal with worry. 12. Value authenticity in relationships. Look for real, mutually beneficial relationships based on virtue. Read philosophical books every day. Promise to read philosophical or Stoic works every day and think about how they can help you in your life. 14. Thinking about death. Take some time to think about your own death. Putting daily worries in context and appreciating the time you have, E15. Developing good self-respect means dealing with problems by being kind to yourself and pushing yourself instead of judging yourself for things you can't change. 16. Acts of kindness and community service. Find ways to help other people without expecting anything in return, boosting a feeling of purpose and happiness. Remember that Stoicism takes practice and doesn't offer immediate results, but over time, these practices can change your life and how you deal with problems. Keep in mind that the challenge is the way to growth and learning. Keep your wants and feelings in check and work on mental self-discipline. Show empathy. Stoicism is a powerful way to change yourself because it helps you control your negative impulses and set healthy limits for your mental and emotional health. We've talked about some daily routines based on this ancient philosophy that can help you develop self-discipline, resilience, and peace in your everyday life. It's important to take notes on everything that's important to you because it will be very helpful for your growth. Some of the practices are morning meditation, kindness, and helping others. These give people the tools they need to deal with problems calmly and clearly. But, as Marcus Aurelius said, take the first step. It's not enough to just know these ideas. Choose one or more of these practices and see how your outlook and health change over time. If this text has been helpful, and you want more advice on personal development and practical philosophy, show your support by leaving a comment below. We want to know how these practices affect your transformation journey and what topics you'd like to see covered in future texts. Remember that the way to a fuller and more meaningful life starts with small actions taken every day and following Stoic values all the time. Thank you all for being there and supporting us. This reflection should have been helpful. If you really want to change your life, you should start doing some important things first thing in the morning. We've left a movie for you. Stay with the Creator, everyone.